Hello and welcome to Advanced Math, Challenge Math, whatever the heck you want to call it. Optional Math. You do not have to do this. This is just if you want to take the last chapter, go a little bit further, understand a little bit more, be able to do more stuff with it, we can do that. The first thing we have to do in order to take our volume unit further is learn the area of other shapes. We start off with the nice, beautiful rectangle. If that's 4 and that's 7, what is the area? Why am I out of focus? There we go. Oh, I should put labels in. And you guys know that 4 times 7, and we get an area of 28 inches, correct? All right, piece of cake. How do we find the area of a triangle? Well, we can figure out the equation for a triangle by looking at the rectangle. If I take any rectangle in the world, sorry, people are texting me. If I take the rectangle and I draw a line from corner to corner, what is inside every single rectangle? There are 2 triangles here. And if I drew this with a ruler, triangle 1 would be the exact same size as triangle 2, and each one of these would have half of the area of the rectangle, right? Makes sense. I have one rectangle. When I draw this one line, I end up splitting the rectangle up into 2 equal pieces. So the area of a rectangle is length times width. The area of a triangle is 1/2. Now, they always go base times height. Okay, well, what the heck do they mean? Base, you can just think of it as length, and height, you can think of it as width. So it's the exact same equation as the rectangle. It's just we end up dividing it by 2. Instead of dividing by 2, they're multiplying by 1/2, but it's the exact same thing. So if I am looking, let's say this is 5 and this is 10, at a triangle, oh, sorry, move the camera. If I'm looking at a triangle, my base is the side that it's sitting on. All right, so that's 10. If this was a rectangle, we would have called this the width, but whatever. So the base is the side that it's sitting on. That is my 10. My height of my triangle is 5. Now, another thing that I should point out, they will always put this little square symbol on the triangle to show you that this is exactly perpendicular or 90 degrees to the height right here. What they're telling you is this side is 90 degrees to this side, so this is the base, this is your height. One way they make these tricky is they will rotate the picture like this. Well, I mean, they would flip this around. They would draw this 10 instead of 0, 1. And they'll say, okay, you know, what's the area of this triangle? Because I'm only giving you these and it's sitting on its base right here. Well, the beauty of a triangle is I can tip this. Now my base is 5, my height is 10, or I can just rotate this again, and now my base is 10, my height is 5. All I know, or need to know, is to look for this symbol. One side attached to this symbol is going to be your base. The other side attached to this symbol is going to be your height. So what if they gave you this and it's 12? This is here only to confuse you. It is not attached to our good little buddy, the square in the corner. I only care about the sides that are touching the square. I know that I can ignore any other side of my triangle. So what I want to show you here, here's my triangle, and if I were to simply double this, I'm back at a rectangle again. So if I wanted to find the area of my rectangle, I go, oh, that's easy, that's 5 times 10. So if I want to find the area of this triangle, I'm going to ignore that and go 5 times 10. Now remember, that's the whole thing. So now I just need to divide it by 2, and that's only going to be the triangle. So you could just go 5 times 10 divided by 2. That's how I like to think about it because I can do that in my head. If you use the equation, you end up with 1/2 the base, which is 10, times the height, which is 5. You're going to end up with the exact same answer. If I solve this one, 5 times 10 is 50. 50 divided by 2 is 25. Down here, you're going to find half of 10. That's 5. 5 times 5, it equals 25. However you want to think about it. If you were to look up, like if you said, hey, Google, what is the area of a triangle? It's going to say, the area of a triangle is 1/2 of the base times the height. This is what you're going to find if you ever have to look this stuff up. So if you are doing, say, a woodworking project, or you're putting a garden in your backyard and you want to make it a triangle and you got to calculate the area of your garden so you know how many plants you can plant. This is actually real world stuff that I end up doing all the time with this level of math. Kids always say, when am I ever going to use this? When you own a house. When you own a house, you're going to use all this stuff as you start planning out, I want new kitchen floors. How much flooring do I need to order? All this area stuff comes into play like you wouldn't believe. So, area of a four-sided shape, rectangle, square, whatever you want to call it, it's simply length times width. Area of a triangle, I simply divide it by 2. It's 1/2 of the base times the height. It's a fancy way of saying length times width divided by 2. That's all you have to do to find a triangle. Now, you may be thinking, but Mr. Stanowitz, okay, that works for these nice little right triangles where when you double it, it ends up making a perfect rectangle. But what if I had some really weird triangle like this, where if I double it, it's not going to make a rectangle? And you're right, this won't end up making a rectangle. If I were to draw the mirror image of this, I'm getting into tomorrow's advanced lesson, but it's a good question. So if I draw the mirror image of this, I end up with this parallelogram, right? That's not a very good mirror image. Let me try redrawing this. So, mirror image. I can do this. When math and art collide. Okay, I end up with this, which is a parallelogram. Again, not the best parallelogram. This angle is off. That's what's going on. That's why it looks like garbage. Okay, ignore all this. Blah. All right, I end up with my parallelogram here. Definitely not a rectangle, right? Well, this is going to be tomorrow's lesson. If you take, let's call this my base right here. And so my height is going to be sticking straight up out of that, right? Wait a minute, what the heck am I doing? Sorry, I'm going to put my height right over here. And then I'm going to get that magical little symbol right there that tells me, ooh, this one's my base, this one's my height. You can see how it makes... Where am I going wrong on this? Trust me on this. It makes a parallelogram. I need to do it with a ruler, but when I'm holding the phone, I can't do it. Here is a parallelogram. A parallelogram is just a fancy rectangle. How do I know this? If I take this, let's call this my base, my height needs to stick straight up, and it needs to show the little square symbol, right? If I were to take a pair of scissors and cut right there along my height, I can take this piece and simply move it to over here. So now it's sitting right here. So I just cut this off and moved it. What do I have? I'm back to a rectangle again. What is the length and what is the width of my rectangle? My length is my base. My height is my width, which would be this number right here. And again, if I go back to my parallelogram, I can cut it in half and make 2 rectangles. So whenever you cut a 4-sided shape into 2 equal parts, you end up with 2 triangles. So area of a rectangle, length times width, area of a triangle, 1/2 base times height. Alrighty. A couple of problems that I want you to try. So here's my base. Here is my height. What is the area of my triangle? And again, always make sure they have the little square symbol. So now you know exactly what to do, hopefully. Go ahead and pause the video while you solve this. All right, so you should have done 1/2 of the base times the height, 4. And 1/2 of 10, I should put a little multiplication symbol. 1/2 of 10 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. The area of my triangle is 20. Super simple. Another one that confuses kids is they will draw the triangle like this. Man, when I get into the bottom corner, okay, so here's my triangle. And they make the drawing, hold on, let me draw this and then I'll show you. Let's say 7, 4, 3, 10. And sorry, almost done. Okay. So this one confuses kids. They will throw in, oh, and they'll probably even give you this right here to really throw you for a loop. Kids are looking at that and going, okay, I know I need to do 1/2 of my base times my height, but what the heck is my base and what the heck is my height? Well, again, you got to look for this little symbol. So this tells you, this right here, that's my height. My height here is 4. What's my base? Is this part of my triangle, this 3? No, it's not. They're trying to confuse you. Is the 5 attached to this little symbol? No, it's not. They're trying to confuse you. The 7 is attached to this line that ends up touching our little perpendicular symbol. So I know that my base here is 7. My height here is 4. I can't hold the paper and draw. Everything else is here to confuse you. You ignore the 10, you ignore the 5, you ignore the 3. I'm going to do 1/2 of 7 times 4, which is this. And you go, 1/2 of 7. I know that's 3.5. Now I have to do 3.5 times 4. Well, that's kind of hard. All right. Remember the commutative property of addition, the commutative of multiplication. The commutative property says I can rearrange this. So let's do 1/2 of the 4 times 7. That's going to be a whole lot easier. 1/2 of the 4 is 2. 2 times 7, 14. Alrighty. That is Advanced Math Day number 1. I will put up others, and I'll talk to you guys later.